let's get into the news. We're not going to spend too much time on that because of time. Then we'll bring people up and then we'll get into the topic of today, which is Victor Banjo caught in the storm. If you're joining us on Twitter, thank you very much for being here. So we do this every day, Mondays to Fridays. I usually stream on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm very sure you're going to have a great time. All right. Having said that, we're going to look at some of the things, some of the news making the rounds in the last couple of days. It's Monday, so that'll be last 1, 2, 3 days. Okay, there's one I'm going to speak on. I know I'm going to speak on that. I might as well start with it because I was disappointed. And I'll say this. I was disappointed, but I was also disappointed at some people's remarks. So there's some people in there's some people online, right, who think that they are supposed to help Yoruba people and identity and teach people and stuff, which is peachy. But then they don't understand that this mistake that was made, which is it's nauseating. When I play it, you will understand. I'm sure you already know it. It's nauseating, it's terrible. But it's not a product, it's a product of ignorance. And let me tell you one thing that we forget as humans. I think a lot of us have like short memory span. We forget that we used to be ignorant. And so when we see other ignorant people, we curse them out and we forget. I mean, what ignorance is not an excuse, it's nonsense. But what it means basically is that it's an opportunity to teach so that the person can come to terms with the reality. If they now decide to be stupid after you have shared the truth, you can then be hard on them. This video I'm about to play, when I heard it, I don't respond to videos on Twitter because I know Twitter is an interesting place, but this one I had to respond because somebody tagged me, and I'm going to play the video. I want you to listen to it. I think you're going to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying to preface it. All right. So, by the way, this guy is Yoruba. Like me, is a Christian, is a believer, is a pastor, and is ignorant. Please take a listen.
Yoruba people, there's a problem with your race. Yoruba people, hold on here. Even if you are 48, hold on here. There's a problem with your race. It's called fear. Life bows for the courageous. Life walks against the fearful. I'm saying it so that you can, from a young age, destroy it. That's why I love the Igbos. They are fearless. There's no country in this world you not see an Igbo man there. Nobody can do anything significant in life because of fear. One of the reasons people never emerge or go forward in life is fear. And fear will lead to self-doubt. You will begin to doubt yourself. And I'm saying it to you because when you are young, you can conquer it young. It's in Yoruba culture. Rora, 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 rora. Hey, careful, careful. What's careful? A man dies only once. Hey, hey, hey. What's hey, hey, hey? When they say hey, you say ha ha. The worst you can do is to fail at it. You will try again. We will do big things, oh. But for you to do big things, you must be fearless.
This person is ignorant. I mean, with all due respect, he's a minister of God. I respect pastors, but he's very ignorant. And here's the problem. You see, position, clout, fame doesn't confer wisdom or knowledge. What you don't know, you don't know. It doesn't matter that you now have 1,000 people or 1 billion people listening to you. If you are ignorant of those things, you are ignorant. And the thing is that the generality of our people, two things. Number one, we don't know our history. Number two, we've bought into the propaganda. You've heard it over and over again growing up. Yorubas are cowards. Yorubas are cowards. The person saying that to you he has history of cowardice all over in his family, in his lineage, in his ethnic group. But they say it to you over and over again. You've believed the nonsense. You've believed the lies. You've bought into it. Why do you think I speak like this sometimes on TikTok? It's not because I couldn't be doing anything else. It's because there's a generation at stake. There is a culture, a civilization at stake. You have a group of people who don't have what you possess, but then they go everywhere telling you this, you are cowards, you are cowards. And you're like, I've seen young people who believe it. I was at a conference a couple of years ago. Cosmos Maduka. Today I'm going to mention his name. I've been saying it before. I didn't mention his name. Cosmos Maduka was there as a speaker. He was talking, and somehow in his speech, he just let it drop that Yorubas are cowards. This is a billionaire in Naira. This is a rich person. This is an influential person. He said it. Whether he meant it or not, I don't know. The point is that he said it because he also believed it to be true, because that's the only coping mechanism that certain people have in Nigeria. They have to look down on other people to make themselves feel good. They've repeated it. Young people have believed it. Those young people are now in their 40s. Those young people are now having platforms. Those young people have become pastors. They have huge platforms. They can talk to the world. And when they speak based on what they know. Agba Okogbo, what they are saying is literally what they have heard. They've believed it. Two things. We'll talk about the history later. But the first thing is the propaganda of cowardice is a lie. And the one group that is responsible for that thing are the Igbos. Respectfully to all the good ones amongst you, your group, especially what happened post-war, because of the pain of loss, because of the pain of losing, the way to do it is to actually find a way to tell people, hey, those people, they are the cowards. Let me tell you where the cowardice started from. Maybe it's time, let's even talk some history. Let me tell you where the phrase Yorubas are cowards, let me tell you how it started. It didn't start because there was any act of cowardice. It started because certain people lost a war. The Igbos lost a war. When they lost the war, they then said, sorry, by the way, for the most part, this is not really about the people. I say it every time. The Igbo people did not know this thing until the leaders taught them. Oh, big boy, I'm coming to you. Because it's the source of the cowardice. This, you're cowards, you're cowards, you're cowards. This is where it started from. The Igbos lost the war. Now, the people were just regular human beings. They don't hate anybody. They're just regular people. They are not bad people. But their leaders sold them a narrative that they had an agreement with Awolowo and Yoruba people. They said Awolowo promised. Listen, I'll tell you two books that you can read just to know that Atentogmo, everybody thinks the same way now. Achebe wrote it in his book, There Was a Country. Professor Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, he wrote it in our own book. The book is called Chino Achebe, Teacher of Light. She said, oh, the Yoruba people, I will promise that they're going to secede after, just when we secede, we'll secede together, so the federal government will not be able to fight on both fronts, and then we'll be free. And then when it was time, they betrayed, or they didn't come through. Therefore, you know what? Let me read it out. 1 second. Give me a second. I'm going to read out what Chino Achebe said. I'm going to read out what Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said. Yorubas are cowards that you hear every time. It's coming from a particular place. It's coming from a place of loss. Usually, those who lose will just take defeat, and just move on. But no. Appreciate me. Let me first read the one that Achebe said. This book is called There Was a Country. Achebe said, it is my view that Awolowo was driven by an overriding ambition for power, and that he saw the dominant Igbos at the time as obstacles. By the way, this is nonsense, because Awo was in prison from 63 to 66. When they were doing all their shenanigans, their dominance or whatever did nothing to Awo's ambition. So he said, it is my view that Awolowo was driven by an overriding ambition for power, and that he saw the dominant Igbos at the time as obstacles. Number one, they were not obstacles by 66 July. They stopped being any obstacles to anybody. The meeting between Papa and Ojukwu happened on May 6th, 1967. But let me finish it. Then he says, listen to his use of words, please. That's Awo, he is said to have once declared that if the eastern region seceded, the west would also secede. But when secession came, the west did not follow through. Now, what he did here is what is called plausible deniability, and he did it all through his book. Even Brigadier General Labi Sama mentioned the same thing. He declared, we heard, he must have said. That's what you find in this man's book. He did not say Awo said. He said he is said to have declared. I'll read it again. He is said to have once declared that if the eastern region seceded, the west would also secede. You are not a child in 1967. How come you don't know what he actually said? He is said to have once declared. You know he didn't say it. You know you have nothing to prove that he said anything. You know why? I, humbly speaking, I have the transcript from the meeting that Papa had with. By the way, everybody can get that transcript. I'm not special in that sense. Everybody can get it. It's in a book. The book is called Awo on the Nigerian Civil War. The entire transcript of the meeting is in that. The other portion, you will find this in another book by Wole Soyinka. The book is called You Must Set Forth at Dawn. At no point did Papa promise these folks that if you secede, we will secede. And this guy knew it. He wrote it in his book. He gave it to young people. They say, oh, if you are not angry that they say Yorubas are cowards, my brother, no matter what you do, the truth is that your parents are cowards. So it's, green is life. I'm not angry that you said it. That's actually by the way, this the person talking to me on YouTube. Everybody who has ever led you in your region always runs. Every single person who has led you as a collective ran. Azikiwe ran, Ifajuna ran, Ojukwu ran, and he ran 3 times. You know what? I'll come back to that. I was trying to build it gradually to tell you where the whole thing came from. But since you want to be stupid, I can show you the corner for stupid boys so I can give you what you really need. Where was I? He said he is said to have once declared. So he was careful not to say he said he would do this. But the generality of the one insulting me in the comment section right now would not see that. He would just say, oh, I will said it. But guess what? It gets worse. Let me read something to you from Okonjo-Iweala. This is a highly respected person, right? Fantastic writer, Chinua Achebe, as far as fiction is concerned. Once you leave fiction, it becomes wala. But here's another person who is respected in society. This is the director of World Trade Organization. I respect her. I think she's a fantastic economist, wonderful person, terrible historian. Let me read to you what she said. By the way, the book is called Chinua Achebe, Teacher of Light by Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She said, the Civil War broke out on May 30, 1967. That's not true. There was no civil war in Nigeria until July 6. Just because somebody has name does not mean they're always right. The civil war in Nigeria did not start until July 6, 1967. What happened on May 30, 1967 was a declaration of Biafra. And after the declaration of Biafra, the federal government responded with a police action in June. Not even May, in June. Then they now declared the war on July 6, 1967. And by July 10, Ojukwu was already crying. And if you think I'm lying, please say something that will make me read it. You be the one be insulting people. And that's the funny thing. You guys don't, Yoruba people, you don't know the history. That's what will make somebody like Pastor Bolaji get to that place and think that he wants to talk to Yoruba people and say to them, stop being cowards. Where have you been cowards? You say these people are fearless. They are fearless. Yoruba people are they say Rora. What does Rora mean in Yoruba? I'll go back to this. What does Rora mean? Rora means caution. The concept of Rora is caution, not cowardice. Rora, caution. My mom does that to me. But you see, caution is not cowardice, and recklessness is not fearlessness. That you have a reckless group of people doesn't mean you are talking to a fearless group. You can be stupidly reckless. Just reckless. Declare war, scatter things. You think that is boldness. That's not boldness, that's recklessness. People will die because you don't know what you're supposed to do. You just say, let's just do it. I watched some videos over the weekend. I'm like, what kind of human being is this person? I won't mention his name yet. You think that's what being fearless means? As a Yoruba person, you look through your history, there is no town, I'm saying it, there is no town where you will not find a hero. In some cases, 5, 10, 20. The people you are calling fearless, tell me 5 heroes from that place pre-colonialism. 5. Tell me 5 heroes from, by the way, whatever makes you as a Yoruba person compare yourself to Igbo person means that you're a very, very, very ignorant person. I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you are rich, poor, influential. You don't know who you are. We've got to be careful with all these comparisons. If Yoruba does something, let's not we are not twins. Civilization wise, we don't even connect. What's with this? I don't like it that Yoruba people do this, but the Igbo. What's the basis of the? There's no basis for comparison. The person who wrote that in the comment section, God forgive you. You have to look for Concord to find a hero. You're the one that will tell me about bravery. You have to find your hero is inside, things fall apart. Are you joking? And the Yoruba person who thinks we are all one, we are all together, he's telling you the same nonsense and saying things like, if you are 48, you ought to open you hold your ear, pastor. I'm a Christian, I'm a minister like you, but please hold your ear. You don't know your history. What kind of nonsense is this? And guess what? There are young Yoruba people there listening. You think you're being motivational? No, you are dampening their spirit. You are dampening their spirit based on what? Based on propaganda. They are fearful, but they conquer towns. They are fearful, they had empires. If there was an empire for 400 years, we are fearful. Or yours was an empire for 200 years, we are fearful. Ibadan was conquering everywhere, we are fearful. Even amongst ourselves, Egba will rise against Oyo, but we are fearful. And the people who are brave have no history of empire building. No kingdom building, let alone empire building. No, it's not about church business or Yoruba pastors. It's about the fact that generality of our people, we don't know our history. The people that will become your pastors are from amongst you. You ourselves, we don't know our history. It's not about being a pastor, an imam, or we don't know. We are very ignorant. And so when you are ignorant and a clown comes with something, you assume what he's saying is true because it's written in a book, and because the person is Chino Achebe, the person is Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who are fantastic professionals in their fields but terrible historians, by the way, and no disrespect and no apologies. We don't know. Manchester, I'll respond to you now. Because of what you just wrote, let me tell you something. In your history, there's not been one war that you fought together as a people. Not one. Not one. The one you call Ekumeku is a resistance. It was not a war. It happened, by the way, it happened in present-day Anioma, not in the heartland of the Igbos. Number 2, Aba women riots did not happen in Igbo land. It happened in Ikorabasi. You don't have a history, apart from the riot in Enugu. No wars. That's why I was laughing last week when somebody said the Bini came from Igbo land and it was what the Igbo people used as the gift to their warriors. What kind of nonsense? If you want to even lie to yourself, lie to yourself. But why am I speaking like this? Because a Yoruba man actually believes your lies and use that to judge his entire people. Maybe he thought he was communicating wisdom, but no, he's communicating rubbish. Why do we do this? If you don't know enough about something, why not just keep quiet, study it, and then you can teach people? You have a platform. Thousands of people listen to you. You are influential. But you've got to understand that your influence has responsibility attached to it. And the way it works is, let me tell you something, it's not about money. The way Nigeria works, if you pander to the Igbo, you are good. You are the best since sliced bread. Everybody will come to you. The truth is, that man did what he did because he is ignorant of Yoruba history. That's number one. Number 2, he did it because he also believed the lies. Number 3, most of us are like that. Let me read to you what Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said. She said, the Civil War broke out on May 30, 1967, which is a lie, which is not true, by the way. when the Igbos in the southeast under Colonel Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu declared Biafra an independent state with Enugu chosen as its capital. Biafra also had its own national currency. The Igbos had made this secessionist move with the promise from Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Ask her for source, she doesn't have any. Doctor, with the promise, but why did she believe it? Propaganda. With the promise from Chief Obafemi Awolowo in the southwest that the Yorubas would follow suit. The plan was if the southeast and the southwest broke away from the Nigerian Federal Union, the federal government would not be able to fight a war on two fronts. Awolowo, however, failed to honor his pledge, and the secession proved a nightmare for the Igbos. Awolowo in fact became the Minister of Finance of the federal government during the Civil War. The Igbos interpreted this as a sign of bad faith on the part of a Yoruba leader, and trust was further eroded between the two ethnic groups. The Yorubas, using superior federal military power in alliance with the North and the other Nigerian groups and supported by the British, forced the Igbos back into the Federal Union after a period of 3 years. That came from Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The thing is that what really happened? The answer is no. Not once in the history of Nigeria did Papa or any Yoruba person for Yoruba people made a promise to Igbo people that they were going to secede because they're number one, your civilization is not even on the same level as ours. Your decision-making process is different from ours. So to think that number one, there was no promise made. How do I know? Because I have transcripts of the meeting. Not once throughout the meeting did Papa say anything about that. Again, read the book. The book is called Our War, the Nigerian Civil War. There was no promise made. The thing they are calling promise was a warning that was given not in Enugu but in Ibadan on August. It was in August of 1967. A whole 3 months. In fact, more than 3 months. August 22nd. 3.5 months after the meeting at Enugu, Papa said something. He called it the 4 imperatives. I won't go deep into it, but it's called the 4 imperatives. And this is the 3rd imperative that he said. Please listen. He said, if the Easterners, if the Igbos or the East actually, he said, if the East is allowed by any acts of omission or commission to secede or break away from the Federation, the Western region and Lagos will also opt out. What did he say? If the East was allowed. He wasn't talking to the East, he was talking to the federal government. The Biafran propagandists took that, told their people, hey, Awo said they're going to break away once you break away. Meanwhile, number one, we are not twins. We don't have any connection. You didn't even come to Yoruba land until 1930. I don't really know you like that. He now said, oh, if we break away, they will break away. Based on what? Oh, say our promise. How? Let me tell you one funny thing. On May 6, Papa was in Enugu. He didn't go alone. He went with Marere, went with Aloko, went with Justice Adetokunbo Ademola, went with a group of people. They went to Enugu to talk to Ojukwu. Like I said, let me see if the book is here. Oh, shoot. Go on Read Me Books on Telegram. You'll find this book, right? This. I won the Nigerian Civil War. You find the transcript of the meetings here. Read Me Books on Telegram. They had the meeting. When they were done, in the middle of the night, Ojukwu went to Papa. He knocked on the door. It was at night. It was in the chalet. Knocked on the door and said, oh, we're going to talk. Like I said, he went Nicodemously. That they should have a tete-a-tete. Papa said something that everybody should learn from. He said, let's have some people with us. So people like Olufua brought people, and then Ojukwu also got some people. They now had a meeting. The conversation they had, you will find this in a book by Wole Soyinka, You Must Set Forth at Dawn. And this is what he said to Papa, that even before Papa got to Enugu, he had already made up his mind to secede. You know what? Let me read it, because I know that people here who may not have heard me read it before. So just so it doesn't look like I'm making things up, I'm going to read from the book. 1 second. We have a duty to teach our people. We have a duty to all learn together so that we don't become, because listen, the big person who is talking nonsense was also a small person who did not know better. And so just because you become something doesn't mean you're going to change anything. Please, in the comment section, don't make this about religion. This is what I don't get about Yoruba people. It has not, maybe I'm not even going to bring people upset, to be honest. It has nothing to do with religion. It's the case of ignorance. People don't know. The part about religion, the only thing that how religion gets into this really is that in Christianity, there is neither Jew nor Greek. Right? In your faith, we are all together. We are all one nation under God. That makes sense. In the church. In politics, no. The Christian nations that killed themselves in Europe, were they not all Christians? They were fighting. Did Spain not fight? Did England not fight? Mumbo. By the way, when East Anglia was fighting Wessex and Mercia, many of them were already Christian. No? The real issue is that the majority of us don't know. I'm coming. I want to find, let me see if I can quickly find that page. Gosh, I'm already on Obasanjo's talk. Today we're going to continue with the meeting between Obasanjo and Wole Soyinka in 1967, but we'll get to that later. That's what I found, so I want to open to the real page I'm looking for. I found it. All right, so the book is called You Must Set Forth at Dawn. It says, the 1967 Eve of Secession Delegation of National Public Figures, authorized by Yakubu Gowon to engage in dialogue with the Eastern leadership, had been led by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and the formal, well-publicized meeting between the two sides had lasted nearly all day. That's on the 6th of May, 67. The Easterners had listed their grievances and demands, spoken with all apparent seriousness, and sent their guests off to their chalets. Late that same night, however, Awolowo was disturbed by a knock on the door. It was Ojukwu himself. He admitted that he had waited till late into the night so as to be able to speak to Awolowo in strictest privacy. Sure, said Awolowo, but he also insisted that at least one or two persons join him. That was agreed, and Awolowo called the adjoining chalet and woke up the police commissioner for the Western region, Olufunwa, and a close political aide. Accompanying Ojukwu was a small team that included a professor of history from the University of Ibadan, who, like other Easterners, had fled to their beleaguered state. Years afterward, in 1996, during the struggle against the Abacha dictatorship, the same Don introduced himself to me at a meeting in the United States and revealed his participation in the nocturnal meeting of 30 years earlier. He said, Sean, and that there was no going back. All that was left was the announcement of a date. He said, quote, Sir, I have come not to argue, but to inform you it has been decided. It was clear that any discussion was futile, Awolowo continued. After all, we had done nothing but talk all day. Ojukwu confessed that he had agreed to meet the delegation at all, only out of respect for my person. Biafra had already made a decision. This is the person they are saying that was the one who told them to run away or to secede. Then Yoruba will now do the same thing. Stay with me, please. It says, I was not surprised, the chief admitted. I did one thing though. I made one request of him. In fact, I insisted on it. I said to Ojukwu, at least let us in the West, me specifically, have a minimum of 2 weeks notice before you announce the decision. At no point in the meeting, whether the one in the day or the one that I came to meet Papa in the night, did Papa promise the Igbos anything. So I'm saying this to Yoruba people. Number one, the people who call you cowards, in their history, they have no heroes, with all due respect. Number two, the people who call you cowards say it on the basis of the fact that Yoruba promised them something and then we reneged, basically. We didn't promise anything. Awo was talking to Ojukwu in the night of May 6 to May 7. Excuse me. Ojukwu said, we have already decided. In other words, it's not you that will determine what we do. Which means essentially that the conversation about why you are going to do what you are going to do had nothing to do with Yoruba people. You did it because you wanted to do it, and God bless you. Toba jelo, oje, toba jelo, take it. Number three, which is what I really want to now get into. As a Yoruba person, Omoluabi Ọmọlúàbí is not Ojo. Yorùbá ní yíyọ ẹkùn bí tòjò kọ́. Yorùbá are we have, how do I put it now? Let me say it this way. Because we have fought for so long amongst ourselves, lasted about 100 years. We had internecine wars of 16 years. Civil war of 30 months. You guys have not been able to get over it for about 60 years, about 55 years. We had civil war amongst ourselves for 16 years. You know, I think I should do sessions on these things. We had our own civil war for 16 years. You had 3 years. We cannot rest. We fought ourselves. We dealt with ourselves. Terrible stuff. Guess what? Today, thank God for thank God for the leaders of the First Republic. Thank God for starting Egbe Modudu in 1945, because that was what changed everything for us. Because we have done things and gone through that, we don't look for trouble. We fought to the point where if there's no need, we don't bother. And when there was need, we dealt with people. Go and ask Hausas in Shagamu what happened in 99. Ask Hausas in Ife what happened a few years ago. Ask the one in Mautua what happened. Ask Igbos what happened in 1993 when they ran away because of Oso Abiola. We are a peace-preferring people. We don't fight because we know what it can lead to. We have seen it play out. We know what happened at the Kweregun tree. We know what happened in Kiriji War. We know how we eventually sorted it and solved it. That's why we don't fight. If you really think you're about a coward, by the time they deal with you, your children will remember the story. This one that you're shouting about a civil war of 30 months, you will see what they call. But why would you want to fight a war? Why do you think we are always talking to people? Caution, Rora, sit down. We will judge instead of war. You think that means that the people you are talking about are cowards? It means you are not a thinking person. With all due respect. And I'm glad it's a Yoruba person that said this, because at least, and you know what? I don't think people should insult him as they are doing on social media. You know why? He would think he's being persecuted for sharing the word of God to encourage Yoruba people. But that's not what's happening here. He's not sharing the word of God to encourage Yoruba people. He's sharing ignorance in the name of motivation. This is why motivational speakers, may God help them, they are very shallow. Just read 1 or 2 books on self-help and then start everybody with microphone. With all due respect, I think we as a people, we owe ourselves and the next generation information about our past so that we can walk into the future with our shoulders high. And then so that's why you see Igbo in every country. That's not why you see Igbo in every country. Somebody just raised in the comment section. That's not the reason you see Igbo in every country. You see Igbo everywhere because there's scarcity at home. That is the reason, period. And it did not start with going abroad. It started in the 40s. Actually, to be fair, it started late 19th century. And it started because of the British. Before then, I don't like telling the story of what happened before the late 19th century in Igbo land, because that's not my business. Actually, it's my business, but it's not today's topic. When people say they are everywhere, that's why they are both. See, if you want to make people happy, do it, but don't do it at the expense of myself. Like, I don't really care if you are happy with yourselves. Even if you're lying to yourselves, it's okay. But to compare that with Yoruba people, if people who have no common identity, who have no wars in their history, who have no heroes. And let me say something to Yoruba people. This pandering that we do in the name of, we are Nigerians, we are good people. Don't listen, respect everybody. I just don't like people comparing myself with some people in Nigeria. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's ignorant. And platforms don't confer wisdom or knowledge. Because when you open your mouth, and you say Yoruba people, listen to me, Rora, Shori, Igbami. Yorùbá ní mọ̀jà mọ̀sálà mọ ìyá kíkanjú. Even in your own way, you hear those things. But again, I think westernization, the idea of we are hip, makes us forget native intelligence. And so we begin to look for heroes outside our space. So for many of us, once you go to university, you don't think of Awo. When you hear about Yoruba deities, you think, and again, it's also another over spiritualization of things. Some of the people you look up at, let me explain something to Christians. Now I know there are extremes. Some people will shout so I'm not going. This is not extreme. Our heroes have been deified, and because they have been deified, you may look at them from a spiritual standpoint, but in reality, they were heroes before they became deified. In other words, deification did not confer heroism on them. Deification was an acknowledgement of their heroic acts. So when you hear their names, when you hear Shango, when you hear Ojukwu, the first thing you think about should not be spiritual. And with all due respect to the religious people, Yoruba traditional worshippers, with all due respect to them, I'm trying to speak as a Yoruba person and not as a religious person or whichever faith you belong to. A lot of what they did, and by the way, what we did in Yoruba culture is not different from what you will find in Europe. It's in Europe. In Yoruba, we call it deification. In Europe, it's called beatification. In Catholicism, it's called beatification. When a person dies in the Catholic Church, in Roman Catholic Church, miracles or he has done performed miracles and things like that, or they will beatify that person and make them saints. They are the heroes of the church. They are called saints. Not the truth of the matter is that if you understand the New Testament, every Christian is a saint. If you read the letters of Paul, for instance, he wrote to saints. The word saint referred to every believer because it talks about your status in Christ, not about what you have done. But in the Roman Catholic Church, the word saint is reserved for heroes. Just as the Orisha is reserved for deities in Yoruba land, they are heroes. I'm saying this to say that your heroes don't have to come from outside your space. Not after you, or if you know what it means to be Yoruba, your heroes do not, and again, do not see everything from a spiritual prism. Orisha, from the that is there. But in reality, there's something more than that. It's a reflection of the past. It's a pointer to the past. It's a reflection of who you are. As a Yoruba person, just studying the history. You know what? I'm going to do a series on even a recent hero, Oder-in-law of Ibadan. What is Oder-in-law, for instance? Ogedengbe, Oder-in-law Fabumi of Okemesi. Everywhere you go, Orona in Ilaro, you have Odua, you have Shango, you have Obatala, you have Orunmila, you have heroes all around you. But two things. Number one, it's been over spiritualized, and that's why some Christians or Muslims as well, they think that's about religion. And I get where you're coming from. I'm a Christian as well, and I've thought like that before. But in reality, it takes a lot of work, but you can literally separate the spiritual from the secular as far as understanding who your heroes are. And I'll give you an example. When you go to China, for instance, there's something called Confucianism. It's a religion. People, based on of course the philosophy of Confucius, so they interact with him as a religious leader. But guess what? The entire China reacts with Confucius and Confucian ideas as a philosophy. If you want to worship him, good luck. But the rest of them decide to study him and discuss him in boardrooms, in schools. There's a school for Confucius philosophy. In other words, it is not just a spiritual person or the spiritual leader. He's a philosopher, and that's what he really is. You know, when you look at Pythagoras, for instance, we think of Pythagoras when we think of Pythagoras' theorem, mathematics. But you may not know that there was a shrine where he had to go and his disciples would go with him. He was also seen as almost like a priest. The reason we don't focus on that part is because what we need is the math, and we are focused on the mathematics. It's the same thing if you interact with your own traditional history that way. Just because you like, I'm a descendant of Oduduwa, and I say it proudly. I don't worship him, I don't venerate him, I don't bow, but guess what? I look up to him. I read about him in history, I read about his exploits. Beyond the spiritual part, there's fantastic things that he did as a statesman, as a warrior, as a businessman, as a strategist. These are real stuff. I'm not making anything up. These things are codified, they are written, they are in Ifa, they are in books, they are in everywhere. If you want to have sessions like that, we can do it. You study Shango, beyond Shango, look also Okoya, beyond that, even Okoya is not even spiritual. He's talking about his interaction with his wife. If you understand what he did as the Alaafin, you can learn strategy from there. That's how cultures grow. Whatever religion you want to do, do it. But when it comes to your heroes, you look into your past and then you see how you can move forward. You look at Oloko, for instance, that's business. It's only in 2025 that I hear people say things like, Yoruba people don't even do business. I'm like, show ti dokupa, show they gbagi, show they balogun. Because of what you are seeing in one section of Lagos, Yoruba people don't even do business. People are doing business. I'm like, are you okay? Not only do you have examples of women, men doing business today in Balogun, in Tejosho, in Ogunpa, in Gbagi, all over the country. Laleshin lawyer, thank you. In Bodija, all over Yoruba land. Not only do you have people doing it now, you have a history that goes all the way back. By the 8th, 9th century, there was a huge market in Ife that people were trading. They will come from different parts, from Ekiti, from Ondo, all the way to Ife to trade. It was in the 9th century, 800 AD. You think those people who built an economy based on Inu and Segi in the 11th century, and it lasted, they built an empire on that for 400 years. You think they don't understand how to? You think you build empires by being dumb, by being subservient, by being weak? And it is a people that were put together last century that will teach me about bravery. Are we serious? 9th, Maxim, 9th. I didn't say 19th. 9th century. Ugbomokun, that's the name of the market. 9th. By the 11th century, people from Mali were trading in Ife. 11th century. This was the 1000s. What are we talking about? See, by say back in Nigeria, no, we not sound as if we just built something in 1960. What are you saying? North? I said Mali. People traded stuff, took it from Yoruba land, got all the way to the Mediterranean, to North Africa. Not now, no planes. We had caravans. Caravans carrying them from Yoruba land all the way to Senegal. And guys, I can tell you the books to read. Read the Yoruba, the New History by Akinwumi Ogundino. Read A History of the Yoruba People by Banji Akintoye. Read Ife, Cradle of Civilization by Akin Jogmi. Read the other Ife by Ademakinwa. A code everybody is shouting that they won't let us rest. You have seaport. That place, that seaport you are talking about, the idea of Lagos trading, like people going to Lagos trading, started around the 15th century, in the 1400s, or even earlier. The Ijebu in 1892, they fought with the British. There's something called Anglo-Ijebu War. Imagbon. The Magbon War of 1892, you think that's a joke? It's a people that were, guys, if you're even going to tell me about me, at least be respectful. Don't be comparing me with people that can, these other people are brave, you are not brave. I'm like, where is the proof of your bravery? Where's the proof? Guess what? I don't even care if you are brave or not. That's your business. But don't use me. Don't, man. And that's the funny thing. And it's okay. Let's assume that let's say we are really cowards. You now came to pipe us up. That would make sense. But no, you don't even know about your greatness. In 93, let's look at recent history. when everybody was this whole thing about democracy, more than 50% of those who fought for democracy in Nigeria today are Yoruba people. Tell me 15 people from the southeast that were part of Nadeko. 15 major people that were in Nadeko. Let's leave ancient history, maybe it's too far away. Tell me how many people were in Nadeko. MKO traveled abroad. He came back to meet fire, to meet Abacha. Another person traveled abroad, stayed there for 13 years and was writing letter. Came back in 83, went to become senator. You look through your history, whether it's ancient, with all the powers of the Fulani, all it took was Ibadan. Ibadan dealt with them so soundly, they remember it till today. Why do you think we all respect ourselves like the way we do? There are groups in Nigeria, all of us are just being courteous. Some people are not really respected. We're just being courteous. Oh, they are very fearful. They are very fearful. Yet they were able to deal with we had the Oshogbo War, we had the Jalumi War. I can mention 10 wars in Yoruba land. All of that to say this. We're going to spend a lot of time discussing our history, just like we're doing, because it's important that we get to the point where Yoruba people actually wake up to understand that, number one, you don't need heroes from abroad. You have a lot at home. Your faith doesn't have anything to do with how you experience or interpret your culture. Number three, stop believing the nonsense. That is the same way you are hearing right now. We've bought all the land in Lagos and some people believe it. Yoruba people believe it. The person saying he's bought all the land in Lagos lives under the bridge. He's complaining that his brother who has money has been trying to look for a house all over Lagos to rent. He couldn't find a house. If they bought all the houses in Lagos, how can you not have a house to sleep? How are you sleeping under the bridge? Stop listening to people who just tell you, fantastic things that they wish. Then you should also believe it and now be preaching with this. And Yoruba, let me tell you something. It's even very disrespectful. Yoruba, who are you? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Hold your ears. And let me say this, just in case you're coming up. It's not so much. The truth of the matter is this, as a culture, as a people, we have to teach our history. The children, we were watching, I just had to watch this movie yesterday, although I stopped watching because they're getting history wrong. And the person said, somebody in the movie kept saying, Gessi. And I was like, no, it's not Gessi, it's Gessi. So I called my younger kids and then I asked them, who is Gessi? Who is Gessi? And what's Gessi's relationship with us? I'm from Ife. Some people have been asking in their insulting, they say, where is that boy from? Where is that boy from? No, I'm not a boy. I'll probably give it to your father. I'm not a boy, but I'm from Ife. I don't have to go into the details of Gessi's story, but the point is that somebody said something in the movies, and I called the younger ones and I was like, who is Gessi and how is he related to you? Because we are from Ife. And then, of course, we have 4 royal families and then the connections. And then he did well. But the question is, he did well because I taught him. You see, we can all get angry on social media. I am angry. But you see, the real way to deal with this thing, after responding to this, because we must respond, and I'm glad we are responding. After responding, we must teach our children our history. You don't want a generation that grows up thinking that Yoruba history began with Nigeria. Let them see their heroes. That it is today that I hear Yoruba people complain about color, and I'm like, these things hurt. It hurts because you are literally cleared all the work your ancestors have done in the last 1,000 years to now go and start fighting like black Americans who want to build their own. With all due respect to them, but again, they have a different frame of reference. The Igbos have a different frame of reference. Different groups have different. So you will erase everything you have, and now begin with Nigeria and say, if you compare what you are doing. Lastly, in case you are afraid, if you are Yoruba and you are afraid, don't be afraid. Be strong, be bold, do what you have to do. But listen, the reason you have to do that is not because some other group in Nigeria are strong. It's because in your history, and shoujo, in your own history, not just ancient, in your ancient history, in your recent history, you have a history of bravery, of heroism. That's your history. And I say this, I'll say it again. The reason I'm passionate about this is because one day I was in a conversation and a young Yoruba boy said something, and I felt, boy, oti believe nonsense yo, oti gbagbo. Can you, okay, because they've said it. And let me land by saying something. If you call the people a coward to feel strong, you are worse than cowards. Whoever owns that should own, whoever owns that whatever should just take it. If you have to call people cowards in order to feel like you are strong, you are worse than a coward. Lastly, if a Yoruba person tells you ma rora, shake pele pele, they are not telling you to be cowards. They are telling you to be careful. They are telling you to be cautious. They are telling you to look before you leap. And yes, there are times in life where you have to leap before you look, especially in different, in several areas, to be honest, where you have to move. But even then, there's something called calculated risks. A reckless person is not a fearless person. Throwing darts at anything just to see which one will stick does not mean you are fearless. It just means that you don't know how to plan. And if you check people's history and discover a pattern, or people just doing things haphazardly and just going out for it, and you think that means the nation is in trouble, our passport is in trouble all over the world today because of the people you are saying they are bold, is recklessness. A guy was complaining about thousands of people in Indonesian prison. It's from a particular ethnic group in Nigeria. It's recklessness. Be brave, but don't be stupid. Don't be reckless. Just anything. We can do anything. It's recklessness that will make you go to another person's house, another person's land, and say to them, "We all own this place. I am bold." You are not bold. You are stupid. They could gun you down. We own this place together. What are you talking about? It's one Nigeria. You will kill yourself. That's not bravery. That's recklessness. And me, I'm not going to make it look as if recklessness is a virtue. It's not. Bravery is, but recklessness is not. And people should still be calculative, and people should be bold and dare things, but not because of a group in Nigeria. It has nothing to do with any other group. It's about you. It's about you. Be bold, but be calculative, and understand how to calculation and understand how to make progress. Other groups in Nigeria, God bless them. God bless the Igbos, God bless Hausa, God bless Ibibio, Idoma, everybody, God bless them. But as a Yoruba person, your greatness has nothing to do with comparison with another group in Nigeria. You don't have to compare yourself with another group. It is a waste of time. As a matter of fact, it is demeaning. It is demeaning for you as a Yoruba person to look at yourself like, how do I say I'm great? To let me look at my neighbor. Which neighbor are you looking at? I said this last week. When you look at the Chinese history, for instance, and you see 5,000 years of unbroken civilization, it should challenge you as a Yoruba person. Not necessarily as Nigerian, as a Yoruba person. You know why? China, as big as it is 91.4% Han Chinese. That means the vast majority of that huge country is one ethnicity. When you are studying their history, of course, they have many subgroups, just like Yoruba people. And Chinese is an ethnicity, just like Yoruba is an ethnicity. And Chinese has several subgroups, just like Yoruba have several subgroups. Subgroups of Yoruba, you say Egba, Ife, Ijebu, Oyo, many groups, Igbomina, Okun, Ekiti, Awori. Those are subgroups. That's what you have in China. They have their own philosophy based on Confucianism. You have your own philosophy from Orunmila. excuse me, again, I'm talking about philosophy, not spirituality. Okay, I don't really care for spirituality in that sense. I have my own preferred spirituality. And spirituality, again, spirituality has nothing to do with geography. They are white Ifa adherents and they are Yoruba Christians. Two gay for, there's no fight about spirituality. But when it comes to your philosophy, báwo náà ṣe ṣẹ̀dá lẹ́yìn, báwo náà ṣe ń tún nǹkan ṣe ládùúgbò yín, native intelligence. That's what Chinese embrace in Confucius. That's what you must embrace in Oromila. I'm not talking about the spirituality. That one depends on whoever you are. I'm not. But the philosophy is very important. And I've studied it, and I study it, and I think it's brilliant. China builds based on that philosophy. Even the Chinese in Singapore did the same thing. If you think I'm lying, read books by Lee Kuan Yew or watch his interviews. He's mentioned it several times. Singapore is 75% Chinese. They are building they are Sino-Singaporeans. They are building based on the Confucius philosophy. He said it. Why am I saying this? If you are looking for people to compare yourself with as a Yoruba person, go to China. You know that China went to China. This is the time to go to China. You read books on China like, okay, how did they build this thing? Their science. What's the connection? Gunpowder is from China. The gunpowder that everybody's using as gun, everybody's, Europe uses to terrorize the entire world. It's from China. Glass beads is from Ife. That's science right there. Compare the herbs, the medicine. You have herbs, you have medicine. How are you going to be able to get to the point, maybe even surpass Tianxi or all those wonderful products from China? That's how we should be thinking. Oh, this. Let me look at one ethnic group in Yoruba, in Nigeria. I'm better than you. It means you are not started because there's nothing to compare yourself with. If it's about trading, your ancestor. If it's about trading, your own ancestors were trading. They went into international trade and commerce 1,000 years before Nigeria existed. I'm not joking, and I'm not saying this to make you happy. I'm just telling you that if you think whatever you see around is something to compare yourselves with, you are reducing yourself. More than 1,000 years before Nigeria became a thing, your own people were having international trade. They understood comparative advantage. So if we fell off because of Nigeria, this is time to get back up. Not by looking around and say, who is smaller than me? No. Who is my mate? Yoruba should be competing with China. Believe it, Singapore competed with China. It got to a point, I keep forgetting his pronunciation. It starts with Debunking, the one before Xi Jinping. The man went to Singapore and said, we're going to bring people to train in Singapore. Don't Lee Kuan Yew. The first set of people that re-engineered some part of Chinese economy trade in Singapore. Mao Zedong. No, not Mao. No, not Mao. Not Chairman Mao. No, Chairman Mao stopped in the 70s. This one took over from 1978 to 1989. Thank you, Deng Xiaoping. It's Deng Xiaoping. China is China. Singapore is just a little fraction of China, but China had to consult with Singapore and got some people to train in universities in Singapore. Then later they took people from Singapore to establish faculties and schools in China. That's small China, small Singapore. But they built whatever they built. You look at Singapore and all you see is Western civilization, is a Western kiniko. But underneath all of the facade, all the beautiful things you're seeing is Chinese philosophy. Our glory is in our philosophy as Yoruba people, not in all this talo better than you better. I want to frying way. Me version okon pa yen okon. Taiwan is about is more than 95% Chinese. I'm saying that to say that Nigeria fell us off, man. Tí bá ṣe òjò tó rọ̀ tó kó ẹlẹ́pọ̀ máa di ẹ tó máa ṣe ọmọ Yorùbá tá máa fi mí wé. Àfiwé yẹn nìkan gan ó tó dùn mí lọ́tọ̀ ká kọ́kọ́ gbàgbé pé pé history àfiwé yẹn ẹ tán fi mí wé ń dùn mí pé ò rí èèyàn fi mí wé ò rí èèyàn fi mí wé ò rí mi sọ pé èèyàn kan ni wọn èèyàn làwọn náà o you know èèyàn làwọn náà bọ́ ò rí ò tí wàá rí nǹkan mi fi mí wé. Why can't you fight for independence from Nigeria? Because you don't need independence to have wisdom. Scotland doesn't have to fight for independence from Nigeria to be able to conserve and preserve what is theirs and appreciate their culture. So I'm not the one you are going to gaslight. Why not fight for Nigeria and get out of Nigeria? You who have been fighting for Nigeria and killing yourself in your region, what have you brought out of it? So we are where we are right now, right? But you see, Papa did not complain about the structure of Nigeria when he built Yoruba land. This is my point. Papa did not complain about, this is limiting. It was limiting then. Just in case we've not talked about it. It was limiting then. What Yoruba people, and let me say this idea of you must get out of Nigeria, number one, you don't have enough wisdom to advise me on what my people should do. Let's start with that one. Number two, I have elders to look up to. And what did my elders do in the 50s? They knew the country constrained them. They knew. But then they decided to build an oasis. They built an economy in the 50s into the 60s. Most of the first things you have in Africa or West Africa or Nigeria are in Yoruba land. They built it. So, and there's sagacity also informed that where you're able to create something regardless of the people surrounding you. For instance, there are many nations in the world today surrounded by hostile Guinea, but they're able to build something. So no, we don't have to get out of Nigeria to build. If you think that way, you will never build. Do I want to get out of Nigeria someday? It would be nice to have my own nation, but guess what? Regardless, I'm going to protect my space. I'm going to speak up if people insult my intelligence by comparing me with it as well. I don't want to say some things. I'll bring some people up. We'll have like 10 to 15 minutes, then we'll go to our topic today, which is Victor Banjo, Caught in the Eye of the Storm. We're talking about Victor Banjo, but we've had a great time. I still have more to say along. And this, again, I don't do this thing to prop us up and say, just beating like, I'm better. No, I'm saying this because I want us to be challenged. I want us to challenge ourselves. And by the way, we're doing it. We're not, it's not like we're not doing anything, no. Tell me, how many unicorns do we have in Nigeria? How many unicorns do we have in Nigeria in tech? How many unicorns in Nigeria are led by Yoruba people? Ask that question and stop looking around saying some people are cowards or some people are they need to learn bravery from somebody. You don't even have the kind of productivity that I have, and I want to learn something from you. Look around. Is it Money Point or Flutter Wave or Andela? These are led by Yoruba boys. There are 5 unicorns that I can remember right now. 5. There's Flutter Wave, there's Money Point, there's Andela, there's Opay, and there's InterSwitch in Nigeria. Those 5, 3 of the 5 are led by Yoruba people. What are we talking about? What's this thing of Yoruba people? I'm telling you. What else? No, I'm not even talking about Calendly. That one is in the US. Let's even stay at home first. Look at the banking sector. Who are the people leading the banking sector? Oil and gas. What are we saying? Piggyvest. No, I don't know if Piggyvest. No, Piggyvest is a great company, but I don't know if it's a unicorn yet. Unicorn means that it's valued at $1 billion. Whether it's in tech, in banking, in fashion, in movies, in music, Yorubas lead. Yorubas lead. But we've got to do better. Like, we can't just say, we are better than others. We have to do better. We have to get to the point where it actually becomes something that dominates international market. in literature. Thank you. So if you are people to Ojolo, Eman Shojo, would you be able to make this mark in architecture, even in real estate? Go to south, go to southeast. You see Dele Taiwo, you see sorry Jide Taiwo. You see it. You see the kidney all over the country. In real estate, in business. And I'm not even talking about Yoruba people outside the country. I'm not talking about Ogunlesi or Tokwe Aobono. I'm not talking about all those people yet. We have to blow our trumpet, because if you don't do so, and to Yoruba man sọ no kíkọ tó máa ṣe gírí sí yàn. We're all over the place. Like, we are doing stuff, but guess what? We've got to do more. No, not because people are comparing us with those who are not even doing as much as we are doing, which is actually where that's the insult for me, guys. That's actually my own insult. Like, oh, why are you filming? Wait, oh, China, look at China, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Most of the businesses in Nigeria today are owned by Yoruba people. I'm not talking about trading shops. We also trade. We're in trading shops as well. But beyond trading, business, commerce. Just because people don't go on social media to be shouting, we are the world, we are the children, does not mean that we are just, are just there. And the funny thing is that some people do like this, but they make so much noise. You do this, you don't talk as much. It's like it's like somebody saying that, what does Michael Denuga have? Do you know how many billionaires I have? They just wear singlets and slippers. Why? Because Adenuga doesn't talk. It doesn't do social media generally like that. So no, what does he have? What does he have? I wear singlet and slippers. Nigeria, it is well with Nigeria, but Nigeria care about our gun as Yoruba people, and we've got to. Even trading, they are owned by Jebus. Why do you think the Magbon War was fought in 1892? It was because of trade. Let me quickly talk about that, then we'll go to the topic. People that I brought up have gone down. You see, the Jebu were monopolizing the trade route to Lagos. Folks from Ibadan want to get to Lagos. Folks from Lagos want to get to the hinterland. Ijebu was in the crossroads. Ijebu will buy things from Lagos, sell it to the folks from hinterland from Ibadan. Take this from Ibadan, sell it to those people. The British got involved, like, you have got to open this place up. They said no. They were working with the Egba. The Egba supported them at that point. Long story short, it led to a war between Ijebu and the British and Ibadan. 1892. It's a person who didn't even lift a finger before he collected winter cap that will teach me history of bravery. Let all of us just wear our winter caps in peace, and may God bless all of us. All this comparison is just nonsense. It doesn't make sense. And by the way, with all due respect to everybody from whatever, I'm not really as angry with those people as I am with the person who is comparing me with Abba. But with due respect to every group, you are blessed. Every culture is good. Every culture is wonderful. But we've kept quiet for too long. And now it's becoming like it is true. On top of where we are all one Nigeria.